What's up, guys? Welcome to Daily Dose of Reddit. This is your host, Zach, and today's subreddit is r/IDoWorkHereLady. This story's called, Lady Thought I Was Breaking Into Her Neighbor's House. Last summer, I was house sitting for a neighborhood lady I knew. I had to walk over there twice a day to feed her cat and let out her dog and just other general stuff. She was kind of a hoarder, so I didn't exactly hang out inside, just played with her dog in the back. On the fourth day, I'm getting her mail and her neighbor walks over and goes, "You know that's illegal." And I was like, "What?" So she said, "Opening her mail, that's a crime. So is breaking into a house every day." I was mad at this point and an angsty teen, so I said, "Shut up, I'm allowed to be here." Then I grabbed the mail, flipped her off, and walked inside. I watched out the window as she went back to her house, so I did my job, fed the cat, and took the dog out in the back. That's when I hear the police car. Turns out that woman called the police on me and told them I was breaking into her neighbor's house and she feared for her family's safety. I'm a scrawny white girl, not exactly FBI's most wanted. I went out in the front with the dog, and Karen is pointing at me and screaming that I'm breaking the law. And the cop takes one look at me and is like, "Yeah, sure." He eventually got her to go to her house and get a water or something while he arrested me. I explained to him that I was house sitting and showed him my key. He believed me and told me to finish up and he'd drive me home for my safety. The guy was chill, like late 20s, I guess. So I put the dog up and locked the door and come back out to see Karen leaving her house. So I go down to the driveway to the police car and she starts yelling at him again to arrest me. He has me get in the front seat of the car with the window rolled down while he tried to calm her down. He explains I'm house sitting and it's not illegal to bring in someone else's mail. All of a sudden, she gasps and backs up and yells, "Oh my gosh, she's bribing you with sex! I'm calling the police!" The cop looked completely shocked, so she dials 911 and starts yelling into the phone. Meanwhile, the cop goes around to the back of the car and radios something in. About 5 minutes of her yelling later, another cop shows up and she walks over and talks to the other cop. Karen then runs over and starts yelling that I'm a prostitute and was gonna kill her family. The girl cop ignored her and came over to my window and says, "Okay, I'm gonna drive you home, sweetie. That all right?" I said, "Yeah," but Karen did not like that. She started yelling again, but the cop spun around and said, "Ma'am, I suggest you stop. Making frivolous 911 calls is a misdemeanor, and this girl has done nothing illegal." She then had me get in her car and she drove me home. I never saw the Karen lady again. Sorry, this post is long and incoherent. That woman needs to have an affair or something. Come on. Like, at least some excitement in her life. Jeez. This story's called, Woman Constantly Goes to the Wrong Screen and Starts Insulting Me. Context: I work at a very popular cinema where customers are constantly going the wrong way. I don't know how or why, because we have large signs everywhere pointing people to where they should go. Hell, customers even go the wrong way when we give them very specific instructions on where to go. So at this point in time, I'm currently on my break and I'm headed to the staff room to eat. I notice one of the new employees is having issues with a customer and I can hear her becoming more irate by the second. I decided to take over because a queue was starting to form and my coworker starts serving the other customers. I'm not in anything that shows that I work there since I'm wearing a hoodie over my work shirt. I ask the woman what the issue is and she says that the stupid foreigner isn't helping her find her screen. My colleague is Pakistani, so his pronunciation of words isn't the clearest. At our cinema, we have screens 1 through 5 on the bottom floor and screens 6 through 10 on the second floor. The woman's screen was screen 10 and her seat was H6. I read this out to her in clear English without stuttering or mispronouncing anything. I see this woman walk straight to screen 6. I tried to call her back, but she didn't listen, so I just waited for her to get back. She came back and blamed me for her error. I ignore her and repeat her seat and screen while pointing to screen 10, which was 8 feet away from us, and watched her go into screen 8. I facepalmed and waited again. Now she starts insulting me, telling me I don't know what I'm doing, etc. She tells me I don't even even work there, and I explained to her that I was on my lunch break, so I shouldn't even be helping her in the first place. By this point, I'm getting annoyed because this has taken close to 10 minutes of my 40-minute break. I grab her ticket, underline the screen number with a pen in my pocket, and walk her right over to the screen. By this point, she's missed the first 15 minutes of her movie, which I already knew. Before she headed into the screen, she shot me a few FUs and insulted my intelligence. I just gave her a sweet smile and said, "I hope you haven't missed any of the movie, ma'am." 10 minutes later, I go down to my locker to grab my charger, and I see her arguing with our manager in training, or supervisor, about how she wanted a refund since she was late to her movie. I head over, now in my work clothes, and explain to my supervisor why she walked in late. And I also explained how she had sworn at me and my coworker. My work colleagues are all amazed and always back each other up, so she was pretty pissed off that this customer had the audacity to act like that while I was working for free since our breaks aren't paid. She tells customer that she should go back to the film or be kicked out for being disruptive. Customer asks to see my manager, and my supervisor pulls out her badge that says she's a manager in training. My supervisor asks her if she'd need any assistance, and the customer says nothing. The customer's face goes bright red, and she walks out of the cinema while me and my supervisor look at each other with crap-eating grins. Dealing with people like that is incredibly frustrating. I can't imagine doing that for free. Actually, I take that back. I had to do that a lot as I worked at the hotel because I didn't get paid overtime, but I worked overtime. Oh boy, did I. Alrighty, this story's called Blocked In by Karen. I just came across this subreddit and decided to share. I work as an RF engineer, which I was doing drive testing, or basically testing a cell tower to see if it's up to spec. It's a very niche job where most people are flown in from all parts of the country, but it pays well. Anyway, I get dispatched to rural South Dakota in November last year. Second week ever doing this line of work. Prior to that, I've been laid off from IT help desk for about 4 months and was doing Uber to survive. Thanks to a certain, now former, CEOs of a cell company with a magenta T logo flapping its big mouth and pushing the delivery date for a new technology to be sooner when the existing deadline was already unrealistic, most of us are working double shifts 7 days a week and sleeping in the car to meet workload demands. So my rental car is a mess of wires, 5 antennas on the roof, a laptop with all these dancing bar charts in the passenger seat, food wrappers, empty Gatorade soda bottles, and I'm probably going on my 3rd day of not showering since, of course, there are hardly any gyms or truck stops in the area. And as busy as some nights get, it's hardly worth getting a hotel. I'm almost done with a site on a narrow dirt road on the side of a mountain when I see this Ford F-250 with all 4 lights on go up behind me. By the way, forgive my ignorance, but why do y'all drive like that? Even now that I have an SUV, it still blinds the hell out of me. I thought she stopped behind me because I was blocking her way. So I moved the car far enough out of the way for her to pass and go back to work. Then Karen, in all of her self-righteous and entitled glory, edit. Today I learned social justice warrior isn't the right word, and stereotypes, not just the pixie cut and age, but I now picture her voice, which is almost like Lois Griffin, nasally with a bit of whininess to it. She goes up to my window while I'm trying to get an accurate reading. Instead of just knocking on my window with her knuckles, she decides to use her ring to knock on the window, which of course is loud as fire trucks and startles me, but she thinks she's slick by trying to call me out on it. She starts asking what I'm doing. I calmly explain that I'm testing the cell tower and point at it, and a bunch of her other questions. She then demands that I show her my ID or authorization letter. I only have the ID because of the contractor company, but since I'm new, nothing with a magenta T on it to save my life.
I don't know who the hell name of company is, so why should
should I believe you? And there's no printed authorization letter, just an email on my phone giving the GPS coordinates of the towers. Lots of towers aren't exactly on a street address, and essential information about the tower, azimuths, frequencies, etc. Of course, this isn't good enough, and she says, "You're staying here until the cops come," and parks her truck sideways to block the road so I can't get out. So then she gets in her truck, rolls up the windows, and starts browsing Facebook, completely ignoring anything I said and even turning up her radio. Of course, this puts me ridiculously behind schedule since the sheriffs have better things to do. The nearest sheriff's department is 20 miles away, and I'm having to live stream via WhatsApp to my coordinators who can't believe what's happening, and I can't make it to my next site. When they finally arrive a little over an hour later, although the deputy was friendly with me, he was even ratting off weird things like me coming out of her driveway and blocking it, which I was nowhere near it, nor did I even head any further down my street, and acting paranoid. By the time he got my side of the story, he was almost livid with her, and at this point, so was I. I was disappointed that he didn't follow through with his rantings about lying to the police being a felony, and also stuff about the fact that he could also send her to jail for placing me in false imprisonment, and at the moment I was pissed and said, "Well, what's stopping you? I want to press charges." But c'est la vie. By the time I left, 1.5 hours already passed, and of course, I lost the second shift commission since I wasn't able to make it in time. I've since had to make my own magnet decals with the major cell carrier's logo on it, picked up cars that are more likely to be used in an official capacity, exempli gratia, Ford Explorer, Chevy Silverado, because nice try with a Camry, right? Orange safety vest, added a sticker with the cell carrier's logo to my employee badge. Let me see you complain at me now, Karens and Kevins of the world. So far, nobody really said crap to me. Besides, even if someone was up to no good, would they choose some rural town without so much as a store for a few miles and sit on the road at 6 p.m. with all the lights on? Also, if the average crook was boxed in like that, that's a surefire way to put her life at risk. If I found someone that suspicious, copy the license plates and call the cops from the safety of my house. What an idiot! Obviously, you're not at fault here. 100%. That's the stupid Karen's fault, okay? However, I feel like, given your description of the area, it sounds like it was nothing but like, I don't know, nothing around you, so you could have just gone around, maybe. That's just what I think. You could have been on time. However, I guess running away would almost 100% be an admission of guilt to her. You never know how these Karens are gonna take anything. This story's called Replacement Manager Thinks I Am Not a Worker at a Restaurant and Calls the Cops. I have another story from the same restaurant on r/older than you think I am. Ooh, potential new subreddit. About a Karen who thinks I have a fake mustache and tries to get free food and drinks. Sorry about the spacing in that story. I am still kinda new to Reddit and even on my main account. I am currently 17 and was 17 at the time of the story. I have a baby face and voice. I shaved my mustache, it looks bad on me, so I look even more like a kid. The owner got sick from the flu, this was before Modelo, and got a replacement manager to work. I am using a throwaway so I don't get my restaurant tracked. It's a family restaurant, so there is only one of its kind. Cast. OP. You already know. Manager. Replacement manager. Owner. Workers 1 through 3. Voices to be determined. Same with the cops. Now, time for the story. I was on my way to work. My boss, the owner, called me the day before to tell me he was sick and had hired a replacement manager to fill in for him. I didn't change because I just left school and I don't have time to change. I walk in and immediately spot him. I go over to greet him and he says for me to follow him. He leads me over to a table and tells me to take a seat. The conversation goes as follows. Sir, sir, I work here.
No, you don't. You're too young to work here. Now that I think about it, where are your parents?
I am 17. I am old enough to drive myself to work. I don't need my parents to come. I have my ID if you want it.
Show me.
I slam my military ID, my parents are military, driver's license, and my state ID on the table, all up to date, and they all look like my current self. There.
Look, kid, I may have underestimated your age, but you obviously don't work here. Now tell me what you want to drink or go on your way.
Go get the workers and ask them if they know me. There are only 3 workers in the building at the time, and we have a close friendship.
No, that is a waste of time. Get out of my restaurant.
I spot worker 1 and call her over. Hey, worker 1, can you explain to our manager that I actually work here? What's going on?
This is your friend. You don't work here. Are you trying to rob this place? I'm gonna call the cops if you don't leave immediately.
Worker 1 gestures over workers 2 and 3 to come over. After they all explain to the manager that I work there, he just walks away. I thought that was the end of the story, but oh boy, there's more. I was serving a couple. They were actually nice and respectful, unlike the Karen in my other story. When I see 2 cops walk in, I take the couple's order and go to greet them and ask if they needed anything, and manager gets there first. When I got there, the conversation was already going on, but here's what I heard.
And I need to get him out of here.
What's going on?
Is this the person you were talking about?
I'm visibly confused.
Yes, arrest him now.
Sir, do you work here? Yes, I don't know what the problem is.
Manager's saying that you are a fake worker taking advantage of him being new and trying to rob this place.
No, I do work here, and you can ask all of the other workers, and even the owner himself if I do. They ask all the workers if I work there, and they all say yes. The 2 cops yell at manager for a little bit for wasting their time, and I got a free milkshake from manager himself, and nothing happened after that. I was a late bloomer too, it's okay, buddy. But, my blooming happened around freshman year of high school, I guess. However, my little cousin, he straight up looked 10 until he turned 17. He just recently, he's 18 now, and he's finally looking like a grown-up, which is good. So don't worry, you'll get there. Unless you're like that one movie, I think it's called The Late Bloomer, where that dude had a tumor growing up against his pituitary gland, and so he never actually went through puberty. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.